of NPC, Mr. Xu Xianming. The Finance and Economic Affairs Committee of NPC, Vice Chairman Mr. Yin Zhongqing. Education, Science, Culture and Health Committee of NPC, Vice Chairman Mr. Wu Heng. Natural Resource and Environmental Protection Committee of NPC, Vice Chairman Mr. Dou Shuhua. NPC Budgetary Affairs Commission, Vice Chairman Mr. Zhu Mingchun. They will take your questions on the supervisory work of NPC. Now the floor is open for questions.
谢谢主持人。中央广播电视总台国广记者提问：去年全国人大常委会开展的大气污染防治法执法检查力度很大，曝光了一批问题，社会反响强烈。请问窦淑华副主任委员，您全程参与了这次执法检查，能不能给我们讲一讲，你们是怎么进行明察暗访的？您个人有哪些感受？谢谢。
China Radio International. Last year, the
Thank you
NPC
for your
Standing
attention
Committee carried
and
out enforcement
concern
inspection on atmospheric
for
pollution
our work.
prevention and control law. It was a serious inspection that have attracted great
We will
public
secure a
attention
decisive
and exposed a
victory
number
to
of
win the
problems.
battle of poverty
Vice Chairman
alleviation
Dou
and
Shuhua,
environmental
as a
protection.
member of
This
the
is the
inspection
requirement from
team,
the Central
could you share
Committee.
with us how the inspection was
For the
carried out
new
and
committee,
what
we
strikes
will
you most?
Strictly follow the four awareness and the two safeguard. We will study and learn the new thinkings from General Secretary Xi Jinping and implement decisions from CPC Central Committee on ecological conservation. We will fully implement the duties in accordance to the Constitution. We strengthen our work in the area for the environmental protection. In 2018, the Standing Committee of NPC conduct supervision on atmospheric pollution and the law on marine environmental protection. We also hear some of the performance review on 2017. And we also hear the work performance report for law enforcement on solid waste. The Standing Committee of NPC hosts another meeting to discuss the supervision on the law enforcement on air pollution. We have made guidance and strengthening our work for environmental protection and consolidate our confidence to win the battle of environmental protection. We will protect the ecological environment by regulation and laws. We will firmly support the battle of environmental protection. In fighting the battle of addressing the pollution, the key lies in defending the blue sky. We will make sure that our people can enjoy the blue skies. The Standing Committee of the 13th NPC has put their priorities on law enforcement, on law on air pollution. This will follow the important decision made from CPC Central Committee to make sure a smooth implementation for law on air pollution. We devote our attention to address issues that concern our people. Chairman Li Zhanshu is the leader for this law enforcement work. During the law enforcement supervision, relevant leaders lead 4 working committees and visited 8 provinces for the supervision. At the same time, they also delegate the work to 23 regions for self-check. It is fair to say that we have strengthening our efforts for the law enforcement supervision, and the efficacy is higher than previous supervision. Personally, I attended the supervision work in 3 groups, Shanxi, Hebei, and Shandong province. From my perspective, I want to mention 4 points. First, we studied the important guidance from General Secretary Xi Jinping on ecological protection, and we will fully implement decisions from the CPC Central Committee. With strong leadership, we continue to spread out the important thinkings from General Secretary Xi Jinping and call for efforts from all localities to implement the guidance from the CPC Central Committee. Second, this time we carry out a strict law enforcement supervision, meaning that the law enforcement should be strict. At the same time, we also provide strict supervisions over the law enforcement. We will clarify the scope for the law enforcement, and we strictly follow the procedures according to the regulation. We will avoid any delays and misconduct for the law enforcement. And this time supervision is result-oriented. We dare to deal with all the toughest issues. For key areas, key sectors, we will conduct comprehensive checks. We will also carry out random inspections for those key areas for better ratification. Fourth, this time we are using some innovative measures to improve the tangible results for the supervision. As I have just mentioned, we are using a variety of ways for the supervision, including the random inspections, seminars at all levels of government entities, etc. As the journalist just talked about the random inspection, during the supervision, we have conducted random inspections to 38 enterprises from 12 cities. There are 5 features for the random inspection. First of all, we have a dedicated inspection team to conduct the work. The team was comprised from the Standing Committee and the NPC members. And also we have some representatives from the local NPC Standing Committee and also some officials from the local environmental protection commissions. All of them will provide oversight for the supervision and the random inspection. Second, we will select the key areas for the random inspection. First of all, we will gather some information from the local governments and we will identify the key areas for inspection. Third, as we all say that it is a random inspection, we will not issue early notice to the enterprises, and we will also not give notice to the local government. And we will directly go to the site. When we gather some evidence, we will provide those data to the local government for environmental protection.
第三就是现场抽查，
And all the issues will be dealt in accordance to the regulations and laws.
也不通知当地政府。
For any issues we
到现场之
identified,
后直接
we
查
will
到风
ask
险
the
问题，
local environmental protection
取
bureau
证
to
发现问题，
process
由
those issues.
环保执法部门。
And these
当场认
companies
定。
will correct their
第
wrongdoings
四就是
with the
依
support
法
of the
处理
local
问题，
environmental
就
protection
是人大检查的
institute.
时候
Fifth,
不直接处理问题，
We will
对
make good
现
use
场
of the
发现的问
results.
题请环保
And
执
also
法
we
部
will
门
carry out
来
an
认定，
in-depth analysis for the
有的
inspection.
当场责
All
令
of
写
these
责版，
issues
有的
will be included
向
in a
当
standing
地政
committee's
府交办
report.
整改，
By doing that,
有
we
的
can better push
交给
forward for the law
环保
enforcement
督察回头
of
看
the supervision.
去督促整改。第五就是运用好
As of now,
检查
through the
结果，
random inspection,
对检查的问
it can
题
improve our
深入进行分
efficiency
析
to，identify the problem
并且
and address the problem.
在人大常委会报告的时候采纳这些问题的分析结果。提出意
Currently,
见
all
建
the
议，
38 issues
推动
that has been
法律制度的
reported from 22 regions has been
从现在
carefully
看呢，
handled.
确实这个抽查呀，达到了
For the supervision on the law
这个
enforcement on
侦
air
找问题
pollution,
找准问题抓
from the
住
early
问题
stage of identifying the
解决问题的
problem,
效果。
addressing the problem,
到
and
目前
carrying
呢
out，an
这
in-depth
个
plan,
22个单位
I would
企业
say it was
查
quite
找
a
的
success.
38个问题都依法得到了解决。
And we can also see
从
the NPC
常委会
Standing Committee
大气
have
法
made
执法检查来
positive
看
contribution to defend our blue
这次执法
sky.
检查从检查、审
This
议、
endeavor also
专题询
provide
问
a role model
作出
for
决
the
议
law enforcement supervision for the
一直到
NPC.
今年2
Thank
月
you.
国务院对执法检查的整改意见进行反馈，整个的一个过程可以看到常委会的执法检查对打好蓝天保卫战起到了积极的作用，同时也为我们人大依法监督提供了一个典型的范本谢谢大家。
好，请继续提问。中区第4排，对，这位女士。
谢谢主持人。中国日报记者提问：我们注意到，去年国务院首次向全国人大常委会全口径报告了国有资产管理的情况，这也是国有资产家底首次在全国人民面前亮相。请问预工委的朱主任，全国人大为此做了哪些工作？您认为这项监督工作发挥了什么样的作用？今年还有哪
Thank
些
you
准
for your
备？谢谢。
question.
好。
China Daily. Last year, for the first time, the State
established
Council
DA
reported
report
to the
from
NPC Standing Committee about the
DA
management
State Council to
of all
NPC
state-owned
regarding
assets.
DA state
This is
assets.
also the first
This
time
is
that the
a
public get access
way to better
detailed
monitor
information
the state
of all the
assets
state-owned
usage.
assets. So,
This
Mr.
actually
Zhu Mingchun,
adopted by the
what
end
do you
of
think is the role of the
2017 through the number 33 document. Last year, that's DA first year to implement the document. With joint efforts, we can tell that we had a very good start and achieved a sound outcome. I can tell you two things about our work. First, we roll out our practice nationwide with the Ministry of Finance and also the SASAC and related to other departments. We had a national conference to implement the detail-driven plan. Chairman Li Jianshu also gave us the guidance, and Vice Chairman Wang Chan also delivered an important speech. So in 31 provinces and regions, the work has been put in place till now. They all established the reporting mechanism and conducted the reporting work. Second, at the standing committee level, we have comprehensive report plus specific report as our working system. Last October, standing committee deliberated and reviewed the comprehensive management report and also financial asset management report delivered by Central State Council. So this is the very first time of its kind we had this full coverage of state assets after the establishment of new PRC. So talk about specific report, actually, we put our focus on single area. So comprehensive report plus specific report, this is a new practice at the Standing Committee of NPC, and this system also rolled out nationwide. Talk about state assets. This is a huge size or the huge pool that including many categories. So if we can give you a very clear book regarding the management of state assets, it's not easy work. So actually we have identified the clear role and the responsibilities among the related players, and we also have the action plans and the guidance in the place. We overcome many difficulties, as I mentioned, because there covers so many things, so many different sectors, and the management actually not centralized, not belong to one single department. Therefore, in order to submit one book of state assets usage is not that easy. But what we can tell, so including financial and non-financial assets, and also the public sector, administrative sector, natural resources, these sectors are all included in the book. I also would like to mention that some actually is calculated or settled by their value and some by their quantity because that they have different nature. So the accounting standard also different. You may pay a notice to last October actually already published the numbers to the public, but you cannot just simply add them all up. But the aspiration of doing this job is that we would like to report a clear situation to the Standing Committee of NPC, which is traceable and can be checked. So this is also a good way to control and supervise the management and usage of our state assets. I believe that's also conducive to our people because that's really transparent and also make sure our state assets can be used and managed in a safe and good way. So we should be open, transparent, law-based, and we will also disclose the information to the public through our one-year job. A lot of job actually quite new and fresh. It's fair to say we achieve very good results in two ways. Number one, as I mentioned, this is a very clear book covering all areas. That's already show everything on the table. So our state assets can operate transparently. Second, we also identify the problems, build a consensus, and strengthen our due responsibilities. Through our survey and inspections, and we urge the related central departments, they will speed up their work on state asset review. Right now, the base number of state assets is not that accurate. There's also room for improvement. And the layout or the allocation of resources and the management is not sound enough. Some areas, they actually have the loss of state assets or in a very low efficient in terms of management. So we build up our consensus around these problems, and we also have more responsibilities to do a good job in better management and usage of state assets. For our next step, we'll redouble our efforts to reach the State Council and the CPC Central Committee's requirement. So we will strengthen our work in reform. So after October, when we deliberated the reports, that's including comprehensive one and the specific one, and we also conducted specific survey and inspections on the usage and management of state assets, as well as financial assets. So in the report and in the meeting, we talk about how the financial assets is allocated, how they operate it, and what is the way to better prevent or save or against risks, and also how to better diffuse and forestall the potential risks. We gave a lot of suggestions in these areas. So that's the first priority in our work. And we would like to, through our efforts, to better meet the requirement given by the CPC Central Committee. And we will also report back to the Standing Committee of NPC this April. And we will also lay out our 5-year action plan. Right now is subject to approval. Every year, we will deliver one comprehensive report and specific report. Last year, that report is regarding the financial assets. This year, the report will in the field of administrative resources. Coming future, we will also see the reports covering all the areas and also the natural resources. So we would like to cover more and more sectors in our reports. All in all we are doing is to better conduct our work to supervise the assets.
检察日报融媒体中心的记者，这个问题请徐显明副主任委员回答。去年全国人大常委会听取和审议了两高专项工作报告，并首次对两高专项工作进行专题询问。请问，为何在听取专项工作报告之后还要开展专题询问？为做好这次专项询问工作，全国人大监察和司法委员会做了哪些工作？有哪些亮点和经验值得总结？谢谢。
Procuratorial Daily.
Thank you for your question.
Vice Chairman Xu Xieming. Last year, the NPC Standing Committee heard and deliberated the special report and carried out special inquiry on the work of the Supreme People's Court and Supreme People's Procuratorate. So what makes the inquiry necessary after hearing the report? What did the Supervisory and the Judicial Affairs Committee do for this inquiry? And what are the highlights or good experience?
好，谢谢你提出的问题。专题询问是人大和常委会行使监督权的一项重要的方式。长期以来，常委会主要是
weak law enforcement.
和审议有关的专题。
We talk about
对两个的工作进行监督。
regarding the civil cases.
这个基础上
That's also a weak link in our job.
开展了专题询问。
So this is actually draw a great attention from the public. So we also would like to, through our work, to give the response to the people. Second, we will further step up our supervision on law enforcement. And this is also a good exploration and innovative practice. In our work front, we will further implement the decision and guidance given by the CPC Central Committee. In order to conduct a better inquiry with the Standing Committee of NPC, my committee doing the following job. Number one, we had a good communication and coordination with Supreme People's Court and the Procuratorate. So we give the very clear requirement so they can produce the corresponding reports and also give us the feedback on their draft report and also bring the feedback into their work. And second, we also widely hear the voices from different sectors. So we work with the All China Federation of Judicial Committees and also the China's Youth Daily and we had the questionnaires so that including the public practitioners, lawyers. Third, we also paid a visit to the field. Myself visit 4 provinces, and we produced a specific report. And during the meeting of the NPC Standing Committee, we also deliberate the reports as a reference for the members. So this has also laid a good foundation in terms of material for other members to better understand the reports given by the Supreme People's Court and the Procuratorate. So we also invite the people from different sectors, including the national security, the judicial departments, and also the Ministry of Finance. Thank you.
在常委会的第6次会议上，周强院长、张军检察长以及公安部、司法部、财政部等有关部门的负责人到会回答询问，引起了社会各界广泛的关注。那么这一次专题询问，我认为取得了比较好的效果。谢谢你。
好。 请继续提问。中区第4排，对，穿西装这位男士，举手的，对。
谢谢主持人。中央广播电视总台央视记者提问。去年的12月下旬，全国人大常委会听取和审议了国务院关于发展海洋经济、加快建设海洋强国工作情况的报告。那么全国人大财经委专门就此展开了专题的调研。 所以我想请问一下尹忠清副主任委员，那么为什么会针对这样的题目展开专题调研？那么在调研的过程当中，我们都发现了哪些问题，提出了哪些建议？谢谢。
CCTV. Last December, the NPC Standing Committee heard and deliberated State Council's report on developing marine economy and accelerating the building of a country with strong marine capacity. The Financial and Economic Affairs Committee carried out special inquiry on this work. Why? What are the problems discovered and what are the recommendations?
好，谢谢。我们知道，海洋是生命的摇篮，风雨的故乡，资源的保护。
Marine is the cradle for lives, and also the destination for ecological protection. According to the marine law, for the marine sector has been regulated by China. It is over 3 million square meters. It actually accounts for 1/3 of our land. And also we have to pay attention to the ecological protection and the usage of the other oceans. For the land usage, exploration in China, we have reached a maximum level. That's why we have to shift our attention to marine economy to explore more resources from the marine capacity. This is actually the new driver to foster a sustainable development for China. That's why we have decided to hear and deliberate our work regarding the development of the marine economy. In addition to the survey and deliberation, we found that there were 4 challenges to develop the marine economy. First of all, lack of consciousness and awareness to understand the marine economy. In some areas, they are focused on the coastal areas and the near sea areas to develop the marine economy. They are not putting equal emphasis to develop the economy from the deep ocean. And also, there were many traditional industries that were spread out through the coastal areas, but we are lack of emerging industries. That's why we are in need of a formidable task to upgrade the marine economy. And third, we have a very extensive industry basis for the marine industry. Fourth, for the marine area, there are a lot of pollutions in the near sea area and depleted resources along the coast. For the CPC Central Committee and the State Council attach great importance to develop marine economy. For the report of the 18th CPC National Congress, it emphasized the importance to develop the marine economy, and also for the 19th CPC National Report, it also emphasized the importance to build China into a power in marine capacity. That's why we devote a larger section in the report for Standing Committee of NPC. For the report, it emphasized 5 areas. First of all, we have to scientifically use the marine resources. China have to strengthen the top-level design and improve the regulation and law system for the marine economy. And also, we should firmly reject to any behavior that damage the environment for the marine area. Second, we should foster and speed up the upgrade for the marine industry. We should strive for a coordinated development that make good use of the marine capacity. And we should develop the marine economy through science and technology and innovation. By doing that, we can achieve a high-quality development for the marine economy. Fourth, we have to put equal emphasis on ecological protection and economic development in the marine area. We should better protect the soil condition and the water condition in the marine area to ensure a harmony between human and nature. Last point I want to make is that we should make good use of the marine resources and protect the adjacent marine resources, and also make better use of the deep ocean, the Arctic area, and we should also emphasize the security and the safety of the marine region.
谢谢主持人，我是来自中国教育电视台、中国教育网络电视台的记者。我的问题呢是想请问吴恒副主任委员的。那么去年全国人大常委会听取和审议了国务院关于推进城 乡义务教育一体化发展、提高农村义务教育水平工作情况的报告。那么，请问，在推进城乡义务教育一体化发展和提高农村义务教育水平方面，您认为目前存在的主要的问题有哪些？有什么好的解决办法吗？谢谢。
China Education Television, Vice Chairman Wu Heng. Last year, the NPC Standing Committee heard and deliberated State Council's report on advancing the integrated development of compulsory education in both urban and rural areas and enhancing compulsory education in rural areas. What are the major problems discovered in this regard, and what are the solutions?
好，谢谢这位记者的对义务教育的这个关注。
Thank you for your attention to the compulsory education in China. As we all know that the compulsory education is very necessary to strive for happiness and also contribute to the national development. The CPC Central Committee and the State Council attach great importance to compulsory education. As of today, we have witnessed ground-shaking reforms for the compulsory education in China. If you visit a rural area, you will see the most high-standard building is actually a school. And also, if you see a national flag, actually that is where the school lies. With the development of the market economy, as well as the urbanization, with increase of farmers' income, we have realized notable progress in rural revitalization. However, this has bringing some challenges for the compulsory education in the rural areas. First of all, we have limited space for the compulsory education, and the standard and the level for the compulsory education is quite weak. That is to say, we have very weak standard for the compulsory education in rural areas. However, it is very difficult to secure a spot for compulsory education in urban areas. For rural areas, we have very weak faculties that serve the rural areas for the compulsory education, and the State Council and the CPC Central Committee have pointed out that the integration between urban and rural area for the education. That is to say, we actually impose same standards for the compulsory education in both rural and the urban areas. In 2018, the Standing Committee of NPC conducted supervision on the compulsory education in rural areas. The focus is on the integration for the compulsory education between rural and urban areas. According to the requirement from the Standing Committee of NPC, before the Standing Committee heard the report from the State Council, in between May and June, the Standing Committee had organized 3 to 5 times of survey for the compulsory education in rural areas. And this task actually was led by some of the leaders of the Standing Committee. They visited the Liaoning province and the Guizhou province. They focused on the surveys in the integration of compulsory education in rural and the urban areas. Throughout the survey, we found some challenges. First, it is an issue that relates to the infrastructure for the rural areas. We're talking about 2 types of school. The first one is the vocational school. The second one is a small-sized school, meaning that the number of students will be less than 50. For these 2 types of schools, we still see some inadequate development of the infrastructure. And also, we have to pay more attention to the resources. Even though we have made a lot of progress, but still we see some weak links in the faculty resources. In terms of the investment, we found that there was some misconduct from local government. According to the law on compulsory education, it actually covered up to counties. So local government across all levels should invest, support the local compulsory education. Throughout the survey, we found that the weakness lies in the compulsory education is in the rural areas. And the weakness of the rural areas, that is lack of faculty resources. In terms of the faculty resources in the rural areas, I would like to point out a few areas. First of all, the income level for the teachers is quite low. And also, they receive less support from the local government. Second, we also see the promotion system for the rural teachers are not satisfactory. Third, the living conditions for the teachers is not as comparable as those in the urban areas. This will make the position as a teacher less attractive in the rural areas. Now I'm just talking about the hardware. In terms of the software, I would like to further emphasize the weak links. First, we have to pay attention to the qualification and the standards for the group of teachers. I actually sat down with a group of teachers in the rural areas. One of the teachers told me that she or he is actually quite envy from those who are working in the urban areas. They're saying that those who are working in the urban areas, they can't talk about their kids through the internet with their parents. However, this teacher was working in the rural areas. It's actually a remote area in China. It is actually a impoverished region. In that area, the internet service was not quite good. And this teacher felt very difficult to connect with the parents. It is quite difficult for him or her to integrate the compulsory education with the family education. So this is a new challenge for the compulsory education in rural areas. And also we can feel that for the qualification of the teachers in the rural areas, we have to improve the overall standard. So we have to consider what are some of the advantages in the high schools and middle schools in the rural areas. So the teachers probably should fully leverage all of these comparative advantages in the schools so that the students can better perform themselves.
So it's also an urgent job for us to increase the qualification of the rural teachers. As you ask the questions for our next step, number one, we will implement the requirements given by the NPC Standing Committee. And also, we will receive the feedback from DEA State Council. We will bring the feedback into our practice and make improvement. So we will have a very solid practice and exercise. Talk about DA increased qualification of the teachers and also provide better exchange opportunities for the teachers in the jurisdictions. I believe these are the two parts we can focus on. And through our further inspections, we also can better allocate the teaching resources. I believe we have a better tomorrow.
近年来，有关部门查处了一些统计数据造假的问题，引发了社会的广泛关注。去年全国人大常委会开展了统计法执法检查。请问尹中钦副主任委员，这次检查发现了哪些突出问题？如何加以解决？谢谢。
Guangming Daily. Recent years have seen some cases of fabricated statistics which attracted wide public attention. Last year, the NPC Standing Committee carried out enforcement inspection on the statistics law. What are the major problems discovered and how to find solutions to these problems?
好，谢谢。
Thank you.
全国人大常委会对这个统计法的执法检查十分重视。
The law enforcement on statistics laws actually receive a great importance attachment from the NPC Standing Committee, and we also had 3 groups in this regard and paid a visit to 6 provinces to conduct our work in the enforcement front. And we also asked 7 provinces to do self-inspection. Based on the results, during the practice of statistics law, there is also room for improvement, and also they face many difficulties in 5 areas. Number 1, in terms of statistics law, the public don't have a good understanding of it. So you still can see the fabricated data or the cooked number. And for some reason, they would like to make the number looking good or make themselves have a higher ranking in the list. So they either water down or cover up the issues they faced. So look at the local GDP, is even higher than the average number of the whole country. So this reflects frequently the big problems. So this also leads to the problem that the numbers actually covered a lot of issues. So the numbers actually is not trusted by the public. And some primary level enterprises, institutions, organizations, and households also told us that they had a lot of paperwork to do. So you also can see a lot of the cheating job because they're saying all they need to do every day is to fill in the forms. So you have many different forms, which means you have different sources of numbers and data. That's even make the workload of local government and enterprises heavy. And also talk about the standards. So we have the standard from the NBS. And for each department, they also follow their own rules or standards. So talk about the ways and also how we can get the numbers, the different resources. So the standards, the resources, the way of making all these statistics are all different. So there are a lot of conflicts. So we talk about actually there are the independent island happened in this area. So we talk about each the department from the local department to their central department. They have their own way, but for other departments, if they want to get their numbers, it's so hard to break that barrier. And we not have a good system for holding people accountable. So talk about just filling the wrong number. It's not a big issue. So that's also limited law enforcement, and they also make the violation of law so cheap. So that is also because of all these reasons, the problems so hard to be addressed. So a lot of mindset still, or the target still in the previous planning economy, but right now the whole environment is changed. We not really make an improvement according to the time. So still, people put their focus on the economic development, not really reflect the people's livelihood, or talk about the high quality development, or the quality of products or service. And a lot of new forms, models of businesses. There is lack of standards to collect all the data. Last June, NPC Standing Committee deliberated the law on statistics. And the department from State Council also attach great importance to the problems that found through our inspections. So the NBS give the report on how to better implement the guidance given by the NPC Central Committee and how to deal with the problems. And I would like to share with you that we made some progress in the following 6 areas. Number 1, we make the data more genuine. So talk about the local government. They not really provide accurate numbers, so we also make the correction in this regard. So through the activities in the law enforcement, we would like the local government and institutions to pay attention to the issues that they cannot report wrongly the wrong number or either delayed their report in order to make their number look good. We need to get real number that reflects the real situation. Second, we should do a good job in investigating and prosecuting the wrongdoing. And we should also strengthen that and also call out the people or enterprises or institutions with their misconduct or irregularity. So from the root, we would like to address this long-seated problem. Third, we will further improve the standards in terms of the adjust account. So from this year, the NPS will calculate the GDP at all levels. So localities, they cannot really make their own number in terms of GDP and also the growth rate. So for each province, in terms of a natural resources balance sheet, we'll have the standardized way. So we will have this positive way of doing things that can be rolled out to the whole nation. And we urge the government departments at all levels to disclose the registered unemployment. And this is one indicator out of 65 indicators as required. Talk about economic new driver index that also should be published. And also we should do the calculation in a green manner, and also including the new finance, the service trade, the industrial park, strategic emerging industries, that should be all included. All these actually belong to the umbrella of new model and forms of business. By doing so, we will build up the whole statistic framework for high-quality development. In order to lighten the burden on our enterprises and households and shorten the list for collecting data and filling the forms, we should explore a new way to conduct the work. We should rely on the big data, AI, computing. We do not need really paperwork. We should rely on the innovation and strengthen our random selections. We should enrich our way of collecting all these numbers, and we should have a very sound database for us to establish the system. And we should share the data resources. And also, that should be a very sound and solid platform for us to use all this data. And 6, we should strengthen our legal system. The 13th NPC Standing Committee would like to take an amendment to statistics law into our legislative front. The related departments right now is doing this job. So anything related to the statistics law, including demographic census, that should be also included in our legislation front in order to build up a comprehensive legal system. Thank you.
中区这个穿西装的这位男士。
谢谢主持人，我是中央广播电视总台央广记者。我的问题是提给徐显明主任。全国人大监察司法委员会成立以来，在涉监察的方面做了哪些工作？另外，我们也注意到监察法当中有这样的表述：各级监察委员会要接受本级人大及其常委会的监督。所以想请问徐主任，下一步人大对监察机关的监督有什么样的考虑？谢谢。
好，谢谢你。
China National Radio. What did the Supervisory and the Judicial Affairs Committee do in terms of supervision? And the Vice Chairman Xu Xianming, as provided by the supervision law, supervisory commissions at all levels are subject to the supervision by People's Congresses and their standing committees of the same level. So how did the People's Congresses carry out this work?
监察和司法委员会是去年的3月份成立的，到今年正好1年的时间。那么这1年来，在人大对国家监察机关的监督方面，这个委员会呢做了4个方面的主要工作。一是开展了监察体制改革和监察法实施情况的调研。大家知道，监察法实施之前，中央决定在北京、山西、浙江
the enactment of the supervision law, the Standing Committee of NPC has launched 3 pilot areas for the supervision site. Currently, we are making good use of the experience for the survey from the 3 areas. We paid a visit to these 3 regions and understand their work in the supervision. For areas that we do not have the pilot site, for example, Hebei province, Inner Mongolia, and the Guangdong province, so all in total, we have done field survey in 6 provinces to better understand the development of the enforcement supervision. During the process, we will also solicit feedback from the local government. Second, and also we interfere with some of the law enforcement work so that we can better have other related supervision laws. The supervision law is the fundamental law in the areas of supervision. In order to further implement this law, we will have other institutional regulations. That's why we are drafting the law on prosecution, and this Supervision and Justice Committee of NPC has been providing the feedback to the drafting of the law. Since the founding of the Supervision and Justice Committee of NPC, we have put supervision function as a separate section, and we are working together with the National Supervision Committee and set up a communication mechanism. Fourth, we strengthen our alignment with the local standing committee of NPC and to better understand the supervision work. At the same time, we also provide guidance to the local standing committee. First, we will work together with the leader of the local standing committee of NPC, and we will provide training to these local officials so that we can increase the awareness and better understand the supervision law. Second, we host the seminars to share our experience in the supervision work. These are the four major tasks we had done last year. This year, we have two major tasks. According to the work arrangement, the first one is that we will push forward the legislation for the law on disposal. And all of these are actually part of the working plan from the Standing Committee of NPC. For the Supervision and Justice Committee, they will work to assist the drafting of the disposal law. So first of all, we have to push forward for the legislation for the two relevant laws. Second, we will work with the Standing Committee of NPC to have a field survey for the enforcement supervision. We will fully implement the key spirit from General Secretary Xi Jinping and put more emphasis on some of the new problems that has been arising from the law enforcement of the supervision. We will work together with the judicial organs to make sure that the supervision is conducted in a thoughtful manner. These are the two major tasks from the Supervision and Justice Committee of NPC. You also asked the future plan for the Supervision and Justice Committee. For the supervisory bodies, will be supervised by the National People's Congress. With the centralized leadership of CPC Central Committee, we will strictly follow the guidance from the Standing Committee of NPC and carry forward the supervision work that has been identified by the National People's Congress.
China News Daily. Last year, the Party Central Committee issued the guiding opinion on expanding NPC budgetary examination and supervision to expenditure budget and policy. What will be brought about by this reform, and what did the NPC do, and what will be the new measures?
好，谢谢这位记者朋友的提问。人大的
Thank you for
预
your
算审查
question.
监督重点，向支出预算和政策拓展，是党
For
中
the
央
focus
加
of
强
the
人大
budgetary affairs from Standing Committee of NPC, we have shifted our focus on the expenditure budget. This is a key decision from the CPC Central Committee. It sounds very technical, but after my explanation, you will get a better picture. In the past, the focus of the supervision is focused on the deficit and the balance of the expenditure of the budget. So they are paying attention that whether we have sufficient budget to spend. But now we are shifting our focus to the expenditure budget, meaning that the NPC have putting more attention on how to spend the money. I think this is the major differences. This actually a new requirement from the CPC Central Committee. Also, it can make sure that all the money is spent in an appropriate way. And also, it actually poses new requirements for the supervision work to the Standing Committee of NPC. Looking back to 2018, I would like to mention 4 points. First, we strictly carry out the spirit from the central government and put all of those guiding principles into the preparation of the budget for 2019. So the way we allocate the budget is in line with the central work from the CPC Central Committee and the State Council. Last year, the Central Economic Conference has emphasized that high quality is the future orientation and we should do more to cut tax and fees. We should realize a substantial cut in tax and fees. Before we preparing the budget, we are working with government parties for the budgetary affairs. We are making sure that the spirit from the central government will be implemented in the budget preparation for 2019. So the budget is prepared in accordance to the central government. The key is to strive for a high-quality development, supply-side reform, and the budget should be supportive of the 3 critical battles. Also, the budget should support the improvement of the livelihood to make sure that all the basic needs are met. So all of this area will be considered and covered for the budget preparation for 2019. Second, we should give full consideration of our people. We'll follow a people-centered philosophy in preparing the budget. Last year, we actually created a liaison system. We are working with 153 NPC deputies, so these people will provide suggestions in the preparation of the budget. No matter it is preparation or the execution of the budget, these 153 delegates will collect opinions from different areas, and they will also be part of our focus. The Financial and Economic Affairs Committee will do a preliminary review of the budget, and this year we will host a special review conference to review the budget, and this is a new doing for us. And the topic for this year is poverty alleviation. So we will hear some of the work that has been done for poverty alleviation from the financial and economic aspect. Fourth, we will provide stricter supervision on expenses to support the 3 critical battles. This has been a long-term arrangement, and each year we will identify a key area. So we will rotate different areas. In the past, we focused on science, technology, medical service, etc. And this year, we put priority for natural resources and environmental protection. In this regard, we will also hear the feedback from the Standing Committee of NPC. In summary, during the work for last year, we have done the above 4 tasks in implementing the spirit from the central government. Going forward, we will strictly follow the spirit from the Central Committee, and also we will have a all-rounded inspection and supervision for the budgetary affairs, so that we can make sure that we have a refined budget preparation process. When I say all-rounded inspection, meaning that for the budget, it will cover all aspects. In the past, for the general budget, people put more emphasis and less on the other. And also this time, we have received 104 items for the section-based budget. In the past, we put more emphasis on the government-related budget and less emphasis in the department or section-based budget. But this year, we emphasize the all-rounded supervision. So we will conduct the supervision for all items in the budgetary area. And also, we will provide more strict compliance for the budgetary affairs. We want to make sure that enough oversight are provided before the budget preparation and after the budget preparation. I would like to mention a few points. First of all, we will hear the report on the implementation of the expenditure budget. We will also hear the suggestions that has been provided by the Financial and Economic Affairs Committee of NPC.
We will also strengthen our compliance. So right now we build up the whole network, so we can find the problem in a prompt way and also urge the related department to correct their behavior. And for the key areas, we will also conduct more work in terms of law enforcement and inspections. So each year we have a specific topic. Fourth, we will also have conducting a more follow-up on the problem solving, because the NPC Standing Committee every year will listen the feedback on the following up of the problem solving process. So this is what we call end-to-end supervision.
前面这个窦树华副主任委员介绍了这个去年对大气污染防治法执法检查工作的情况。那么这次执法检查呢，这个规格很高，力度也很大。那么我们想了解一下，围绕这个打好这个污染防治攻坚战，今年全国人大将开展哪些监督工作？力度是否还会更大？谢谢。
Legal Daily, Vice Chairman Dou Shihua. Thank you for your very impressive briefing on the enforcement inspection of the atmospheric pollution prevention and control law. What is the plan for this year in support of winning the critical battle against pollution? Are the future measures going to be as strong or even stronger than the previous ones?
好，感谢法制日报啊，
Thank you for your question, and also thank you for your long-term support on our work. As I just introduced our work last year, talking about this year, NPC Standing Committee will fully implement Xi Jinping's thought on ecological conservation, and we will also do more job to firmly carry out all the guidance and deployment. And we will make all our work to secure a victory against air pollution. And we would like to utilize the tool of law to solve the issues, and also use the law to make our sky blue, water green. Talking about the prevention and the control of water, we will conduct a specific law enforcement, and will also conduct a specific inquirement. And talk about the renewable energy, recycled energy, or the renewable energy, we'll also conduct specific inspirations in this regard. We'll listen to the report regarding the performance in finishing the target we laid out last year in terms of ecological conservation. So we will also listen to the report on the fund utilization in environmental protection. Talking about the law on prevention and the prevention of soil pollution, we will also listen to the report in this regard. Talking about our job, our focus will be more channeled to the water protection. So we will make sure the water is lucid. As we all know, actually we amended the law on water prevention, and that's also enacted from 2018, and with 1 year work, we would like to check the performance of the amended law. So we especially will put our focus on whether we have the safe access to drinking water, and the standard on water pollution prevention, and whether the solution and the system in terms of the water pollution prevention works or not. For the specific river area and the basin area, whether our laws and the legal responsibilities are implemented in details. Right now, the plan is still under making. So we estimate we will start our job in May and June for inspections, and we will report to the NPC Standing Committee in August, and the inquiry will also be conducted in August. So we will firmly follow the Xi Jinping's thought on ecological conservation. We will be firmly and unwavering to make all the thoughts into our actions. So we will take the problem solving way of doing the things, and also firmly solve each and every problems. Use the tools of laws and legislation in order to bring this inclusive benefit to our people and increase their sense of gains, and be more happy and have a safe access to the natural resources. Talk about law enforcement efforts. Based on the requirement from the NPC Standing Committee, we should cover all areas and should be with a very strict high requirements. We dare to explore the toughest issues and really solve each and every problems. Follow the Chairman Li Zhanshu's requirement. We should utilize a new and fresh way of doing things in order to make our law enforcement tougher and effective. So we will do our job in the following 7 areas. 1, we will explore and also find the third party to help us conduct the law enforcement. So in order to do our job in a more sound and effective way. So the China Academy of Engineering will be the third party to help us to do the evaluation on water pollution. So they will produce the inspection report as a solid foundation for our job. Second, we'll listen to the public. And we will also draw the public intelligence to improve our work. And we will also cooperate with the experts, the people from different levels of government, enterprises, and also the different communities to work together. So we will know exactly the law enforcement in a more accurate and detailed way. Third, we will conduct survey in terms of the legal knowledge education. So we will talk to the people in different levels in terms of law enforcement. So we will talk to the people from the legislative or judicial areas and also from the enterprises to check whether they have a good understanding on the relevant laws. And talk about random inspection plus field inspection method. So we will take the problem-oriented and the solution-driven way and urge the localities to really take the problem into their consideration and have the solutions that can apply to all. Fifth, for the province that asks for the self-inspections, they should give the report. So we have 4 teams that will be led by the chairman or the vice chairman for the rest 23 province. We instructed the local NPC committee to conduct self-inspection. So they will also hold the seminars to report back the performance. In order to do a better job in self-inspection, so the leaders from NPC Standing Committee, they will in the seminars to listen their report on self-inspection. So we have a very good mechanism to check the real performance of self-inspection for that 23 provinces. And we will also have a good interaction and integration of laws and law enforcement. In terms of the law on Yangtze River protection, and especially this time because we focus on the water pollution prevention, we especially conduct a survey and also the supervision job around Yangtze River area in order to have a better cooperation and integration of legislation and supervision. And we talk about actually during the process of law enforcement, it is a process to educate and promote the knowledge of law. So that also should rely on our friends from the media. You will be a key player in this regard. We would like to guide the public opinion and also to urge the relevant authorities in this regard to educate the public and also to let the people to know how to protect our environment. By doing so, each and every force in the society can make their contribution to make our China more beautiful. So I welcome all our media friends to actively participate in our media coverage of our work in the environmental protection front. And we will provide a good service to you. Thank you.
谢谢主持人。人民日报、人民网记者提问，我的问题问给朱主任。地方政府隐形债务与金融风险防控有非常紧密的关系。近年来，全国人大常委会对地方政府的举债行为进行了规范与监督，同时也开展了相关的调研工作。请问，全国地方政府隐形债务的规模到底有多大？此外，全国人大对地方政府隐形债务的监督和风险防控有何举措？谢谢。
People.com. The implicit debt of local government bears directly on the control of financial risks. In recent years, the NPC Standing Committee enhanced regulation and supervision on local government debt and carried out special study. So, Vice Chairman Zhu, what is the size of implicit local government debt? How could the NPC strengthen supervision and risk control over it?
好，谢谢这位记者的提问。
Thank you for your question.
这个2014年修改后的预算法啊，给地方政府
The budgetary law actually amended in 2014. So that's also opened a new channel for us to do the supervision job on local government's debt. So in the scope of legislation, you may pay attention that Minister Liu Kun actually answered the question regarding the local government debt. The central government and local government, their debt-to-asset ratio is basically under control, lower the red line of international standard. It's fair to say the local government debt already included in the budgetary pool, and the overall risk actually is bring under the control. You talk about the implicit debt. That's a bigger proportion regarding the high risk. That's also draw a lot of attention to this area. The reason behind is actually we not have a clear understanding or the picture regarding the hidden debt. So why they call it hidden debt? Because this is not in the scope that designated by law. So the local government, either through the financing platform or financing company or through PPP or a government purchasing service. So they either directly or they committed to pay back or pay certain returns to this kind of financing providing platform. All these actually include the definition of implicit debt. As you mentioned, the financial risks regarding the hidden debt, that's also draw our attention. So follow the implementation of following the deployment and the plan of the NPC Standing Committee, we had a bottom-up check.
For some of the data, relevant departments and state council will have a double check on those data because it's quite complicated for the implicit debt. For some local government, they didn't consider those implicit debt as debt. Because if they can get some extra revenue, this can offset some of the implicit debt. So we have to better clarify what are those implicit debt for the local government. So we will carry out a specific survey for the implicit debt to local government. And last year, we have paid a lot of visits to the local government. For some area, we do see a rapid growth and a bigger size of the implicit debt for the local government. And for some regions, the implicit debt is actually higher than the red line, so it poses greater risks for those local governments. And for those local regions, it is even difficult for them to pay off the interest. In July last year, we have seen a publication of the notice on forestall and diffusing major risk in local government. And in August, we also have a accountability mechanism that was released by the central government, meaning that if there is some valid implicit debt exists in the local government, relevant officials will be held accountable. With the notice and the guidance from the central government, the local government has paid more attention to this issue. And also, they are doing a lot of work to offset the outstanding debt. As we all know that the local government has attached great importance to this issue, back in 2015, the Standing Committee of NPC has attended a special session to understand the issues for the local debt, and the Standing Committee has also announced a series of policies to address this issue. And last year, we have done a special investigation into the implicit debt for local government. By doing all of this, we urge the state government to better understand the root causes for this implicit debt for the local government and better improve the way to manage this debt. Right now, we are launching a new system that the local debt will report their budgetary affairs and accounts into the local Standing Committee of NPC. So all of those implicit debt will be covered in the report. By doing that, we can strengthen the role of supervision from Standing Committee of NPC over the local debt. Next question, please.
社会各方面都很关注。请问法律实施中的突出问题是什么？如何进一步推进这部法律的实施？谢谢。
XinhuaNet.com, Vice Chairman Wu Heng. Last year, the NPC Standing Committee carried out enforcement inspection on the law on the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases, which attracted wide public attention. What are the major problems in the enforcement of that law, and how to further facilitate the enforcement of that law?
这个传染病防治，是一个医学问题，但是呢
For the prevention of infectious disease, even though it is a medical issue, but it is also an important social issue for us, because it closely related to the behavior and also the way of production and way of living. If there is an outbreak of severe infectious disease, it will actually create chaos for the social life and also the personal safety. If we look back to the history, there were certain times that we are encountering with this kind of spreading of infectious disease. That's why the NPC and the State Council has attached great importance for the prevention of infectious disease. The Vice Chairman Wang Chen, Chen Zhu, Cai Dafeng, they are leading a special team and pay a visit to 8 provinces. They are actually conducting the enforcement supervision over the law on prevention of infectious diseases. After the survey, we found that there are some daunting problems for the prevention of the infectious disease. First of all, there is a disparity of the control of the infectious disease and the capability of the medical service. I would like to use one example. For some of the infectious disease, they can be spread out quite easily because these are spread out from the respiratory channel. It is easy to be affected. Let us imagine if these patients are actually working and living with other healthy. The best way we do it is to take measures so that we can cure these severely affected patients, or we will send those patients to hospitals so that they can enjoy the real-time treatment. During our supervision, we found that in certain regions, they are severely suffered by TB, and also we see that the number of TB patients continue to increase. After analysis, we found that there is lack of medical services and also specialized hospitals who will take those TB patients and provide treatment to them. As I have just mentioned, that infectious disease actually closely related to the medical service, so we need a dedicated team who can help to prevent the disease. Especially, I want to mention that, especially at the grassroots, it's difficult to have sufficient resources. For example, some of the people, they're studying the same major, however, they're working at the different sectors, and there is a gap for the income for these people. This is actually an issue that concerns us all, meaning that we are lack of talents in the emergency center and the disease control center. For the infectious disease, we have to identify the disease at the earliest stage. Hospital, of course, it is a very important place to prevent the infection. We have special clinic that has been setting up from the hospital. For example, if you have a fever, all of these patients will be sent to one control center. So these people will be diagnosed further to make sure that they are not affected by infectious disease. I believe all of you have visited the hospital, and especially for a special clinic, like a clinic to deal with fever. Even though it exists, however, it does not function very well. And also, the qualification of the doctors and the nurses are not trained very well. And fourth, we have to pay more attention to the disease that may be affected by livestock and passed down to people. For this kind of infectious diseases, we have to pay more attention to the disease prevention for the livestock. That's why we see a growing number for the infectious disease that has been passed from the livestock. In the old days, we also see an outbreak of the rabies. This was actually passing down by the dogs. And as humans, they are actually quite attached to the dogs. They may not have the awareness that the infectious disease can be passed on from the dogs, so they're not giving vaccines to the dogs. And if the dogs are getting affected, and this kind of infectious disease will pass down to their masters. And currently, we also see some of the new forms of infectious disease. It is quite different from what we see in the past. For example, the bird flu, we have different varieties of bird flu, and the virus have made a lot of changes through the different types of infectious diseases. All of these are challenges for us to better prevent the infectious disease. As you mentioned, what measures that will be taken by the State Council. We know that the State Council has always paid great attention to this issue. And also, they're sending their feedback back to the Standing Committee of NPC on their deliberation on the law on prevention on infectious disease. They are actually providing 23 items for the suggestions. All of these issues are quite detailed. According to the law on prevention of infectious disease, government is the key. First of all, we have to increase the investment in prevention of infectious disease. I am aware that we actually allocate a bigger portion of the budget for the prevention of the infectious disease. If the budget can be approved, so I would say at least we have more funds, or we say we are more capable to deal with the infectious disease in 2019. So this is my answer to your question. So with the leadership of the Standing Committee of NPC, we will closely follow the law enforcement on the prevention on infectious disease. We will make sure that the 7 feedback and the 23 suggestions will be taken to implementation. When appropriate, we will continue to do follow-up surveys to check the implementation of the law enforcement. Second, we would like to make our own contribution to speed up the legislation process. Last year, the law on vaccine management has been included for deliberation for the Standing Committee of NPC. We will work with relevant departments to accelerate the legislation for this law. Also, we will speed up our process to amend relevant laws in relation to the prevention of infectious disease. And some people are concerned about the law on the quarantine management. For some of the infectious disease, they're actually brought from overseas. This is also a challenge for us. So we have to make sure that we conduct very strict control at the customs, so no infectious disease will be brought from overseas. And also, we have to further improve the detailed arrangement for the law on prevention of infectious disease.
So we should give a clear requirement on the infected patient. So if their behavior actually outside the scope, they should be punished. But right now, this is our weak link. Like for example, some HIV patient, they take the retaliate behavior to the society. So these wrongdoing require us to enlarge our efforts on law enforcement. We should strengthen ourselves and prevent this kind of wrongdoing in the society. Thank you.
感谢主持人，我是中新社记者。我的问题呢提给预算工委的朱明春副主任。我注意到，就财政资金的分配和使用情况，听取国务院专项工作报告已经成为全国人大常委会监督工作的固定动作。那么去年的12月呢，全国人大常委会第7次会议听取和审议了国务院关于财政医疗卫生资金分配和使用情况的报告，并且开展专题询问。想请问您为什么会选择医疗卫生资金作为专项工作报告的内容，并且开展专题的询问呢？谢谢。
China News Service, Vice Chairman Zhu Mingchun. Every year, the NPC Standing Committee routinely hears State Council's report on the allocation of government financial fund. Last December, the NPC Standing Committee heard and deliberated State Council's report on the allocation of fund for healthcare and carried out special inquiry. So why was healthcare fund chosen as the subject of special report and inquiry?
好的，谢谢这位记者朋友。我注意到你
Thank you for your
用了
question.
这个固定动作这个词儿啊，说明你
I
对这项工
noticed
作还
that
是
you
比
talk
较
about
关注和比较熟
routine
悉的。
work,
正
which
像我
means
前面
you
所
paid a
说到的，
long-term
那么
attention
常委会
to
呢
this front.
每年呢
As
就
I
重点领
mentioned,
域的财政
the
资金
Standing
啊
Committee of
开展专项。
NPC, they conduct a specific inspection on certain key area. If you look back, these key areas actually really related or closely related to people's livelihood or international situation. Last year, regarding the allocation fund for health care, NPC Standing Committee deliberate and listen to the report delivered by the State Council and also had a specific inquiry in this regard. Why have these areas selected? Because this is really related to people's happier life. As General Secretary Xi Jinping mentioned, if our people are not healthy, there's no way to call a happier life. So we also have a strategy named Health China. In the recent years, we invest a fair amount of money in healthcare with a high growth rate. The number I noticed in 2018, the 1.58 trillion RMB, taking up 7% of general public service fund. The budget is conducive for us to better implement the decision made by the NPC Central Committee and also can build up a solid foundation in terms of providing a good healthcare service. Look at the investment from the central budget in terms of scale and proportion compared to other countries. We still have room to improve. If we reflect to our day-to-day life, people still have difficulties to access to the healthcare service. Far from satisfaction, although we made some progress, but still far from enough. Last year, through our investigation, we noticed that our public hospitals, they need our budget support for pay the contribution back to the society. And talking about the medical equipment, especially in the central and western regions, they need further funds to be allocated to build up the whole infrastructure. talking about DA prevention, as Mr. Wu Heng mentioned, that also required more funds. So we should shift ourselves from prevention to early alert mechanism. This is also our weakness. The central budget should also think about a better way to manage the budget usage and also the performance evaluation. We should also find a better way to do the job in this regard. Last year, we worked with the Economic Committee and also the Education Committee to have this specific inspection together and deliver the report to the NPC Standing Committee. And we also give the suggestions to improve the work in this front. So we also would urge the related department from central government to do a better job. Thank you. This is the end of the press conference. Thank you.